We're going to first find the level. So we'll start with Olive. Do we see her falling anywhere here in a level? Like here? Level 4 or 5? 3 and 4? Okay, so between level 3 and 4, now let's look at the reds. Do we see her falling anywhere in here? 3 and 4? Which one do you think is more common? More common. 3. So let's go with 3 and let's see what happens. I'm going to take my spatula and my palette. My palette's a little bit more ignorant than y'all's. I'm going to take a little bit of 3. And this is R3. Now I'm going to take O3. So now let's see what looks like it's close. This one? The bottom? All right, so what we're going to do to see if it's her color, we simply, yep. Going to put a little bit on. Does it disappear or can you still see it a little bit? So to me it looks a little light. So let's go and see about the other one. I'm going to put it right next to it. What about that one? So you think maybe let's try 4? Yeah. So let's see what 4 does. So I'm going to take, this is O4. And then I'm going to take R4. And then let's take R. Okay, so O is pretty close.
It's like she could be like in between.
So now let's see, away from all the foundations, what happens. So it looks a little ashy. Can we see that? So now let's take olive and red and mix it together to make it neutral. And let's see what happens then. Can we see that? So we found her color. You see how we found the level? Then we tested the 2. They didn't work, so then we made the third option, and now it blends into her actual skin tone. So now we have her actual color. Okay? So that's how you're going to color match at all times with these foundations. So we looked at her level, and we decided that 4O and R4 was closest to her tone. If you even also look, we can see this showing up around here. And we can kind of see this showing up here. The problem is this doesn't show up in the center. So we don't have her actual color. But once we mix the 2 together, that shows up everywhere. So we know that that's going to work great for her. So that was 4. So now I'm going to take out my, give these a good shake. So my R7 and O7. It's the fourth level, but the number is actually. Another way that we could have adjusted that, and I know we haven't gone through color theory, but I'm going to show you guys really quickly something really cool. You got primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. They make all the colors in the spectrums. So this red color, I can take the red out of it by adding blue. And then what I'm going to do is add some yellow into it because that's her undertone. Can we see how that changed to the color that we mixed? So there's two ways to get to that. Understanding color theory is important. So when we go through that, it'll make a lot of sense of how you can just take one foundation and change it to what you need. I put some blue because it cancels out the red, and then I added yellow because that's her theme. She's a yellow undertone, and it brought me to the exact same color. Does that make sense? You have anything on your skin right now?
No.
Not even a moisturizer?
Well, moisturizer and SPF.
So anytime you have a client that has something on their skin, you want to remove it. A lot of times clients will say, oh, I've already came with, I have my moisturizer on, I cleansed my skin. That's great, we're going to do it again. The reason why is because, one, I'm not quite sure of what product you use and if it will work with the formulation of the products that I'm using. So I want to make sure that I start with a clean, fresh base, and I put on what I know works with my products so we don't have any issues later. For example, I don't want to use a moisturizer that has active ingredients in it because let's say it's an alpha hydroxy acid. It's going to exfoliate the skin, and I'm buffing the skin, helping exfoliate more. So now I got the skin lifting while I'm trying to lay something down. So you want to be mindful of that too. I always tell my clients to come with a clean face. If they don't, that's fine. I'll just cleanse it for them. So I keep towelettes. This is one of my favorites. This is Bioderma water. It's a micellar water. It's a great option for cleansing the skin as well. I even, for clients that may have a little makeup on or something, I keep a generic cleanser in my kit as well. So now, let's prep the skin. I'm going to use Embryolisse. This is the moisturizer I was telling you about. You can use this as a mask if the client is lacking hydration. You can use it as a moisturizer. You can use it if, let's say, they do have skin that's lifting. I'll put a little bit of this on the skin, take a mascara brush, and in circular motions massage to get rid of that dead skin. And then I'll work the moisturizer in and then put foundation right back over it. That way I don't have to remove to fix things. So this is a great thing. They also have a matte version of it. Embryolisse.
So, when you are pricing your,
Services.
Services. When you're pricing your services, and you know that proper skin preparation matters, do you add it into like the description of what you're gonna do, or?
No. So my clients have a certain type of this is toner. My clients have a certain type of expectation when they come to me, and they know they're getting skin prep. They know, but let's say it's a client that has never booked with me. Most of the time, that client is coming from another client. So what ends up happening is they already know the expectation. But I don't generally put it on the website. My price is my price. And it's either you're going to see the end result on my portfolio and say I'm worth the price, or you're not. So I don't do a lot of explaining of like, these are the steps, but when they get there, I am explaining. Like if this was like an actual client, I would let her know, okay, so we're gonna prep your skin right now. I'm gonna be using a moisturizer, some toner, lightweight serum, just to make sure the skin is nice and supple so that when I apply the products, they last all day. So I am talking to my client as I'm doing the service, but before, unless they send me an email request, this is a hydrating facial mist. Unless they send me an email request inquiring, I don't go through all of that. And then this is B3. This is beauty oil. It has squalene in it. So y'all can see the many things that we're doing just to prep the skin.
So even though you're a licensed esthetician, whenever you're doing makeup, you use your brushes to apply product or like a spray?
I'll use my hands, but I use my brush specifically now because this is the brush that I'm going to apply the foundation with. So I'm constantly, if I put it in the brush, it's constantly going into the makeup. So it's like an infusion of hydration throughout. You must remember that how you start is how you will finish. So if I intend on her makeup looking this radiant at the end, I got to make the skin look that radiant. If I intend on it looking dry and matte, I'm not going to do all of this. I'm probably just going to put on a matte moisturizer and then go in with what? Because the skin will show up the way that the makeup will show up the way that the skin is.
So even dry skin, do I do that as well?
Mm-hmm. And then look at all of the nutrients that I'm providing to the skin. So now the skin doesn't have to push out that oil as a protective barrier or to retain moisture. So now she'll be less oily throughout the night.
You do the same for combination skin?
Yep. A little on the lips, whatever's left. I'm gonna take some of that Embryolisse, moisturize the lips as well.
But it was trapped.
Okay. We're applying that foundation first to the outer perimeters of the face.
It's like, don't press too hard on it.
Notice I'm holding the back of my brush. That takes a little bit of the control away so that I'm not so heavy-handed. If I hold here, can we see what's happening? Streaking. And see, I really didn't even need 6 drops. I could have did 3 and 3.
So like if she's more red than she is yellow, you can do more drops of red.
Yep. So that's what I love is that they're customizable. Okay, so that's the foundation. She's radiant, she's glowy.
I mean, that's crazy. And that's just a foundation.